taking interview from Sir Osman Khalid, and the topic is Internet of Things.
Walaikum Assalam.
So the first question is, what is the Internet of Things and how does it work?
Internet of Things is basically a buzzword, but we should go into the meaning of Internet of Things. So it is a combination of two words, Internet and Things. And a thing can be any embedded device. It can be a sensor with some sensing and actuation features. We have a sensor that can sense the temperature, that can sense the humidity. So if we add another feature in that, if the sensor moves with the direction of the sunlight, as the sun is moving, the sensor is it is a photosensitive sensor and it is moving along with the trajectory of the sun. So the sensor is also performing some form of actuation. So a thing is something that is fitted with a sensor and with some actuation capability. And the additional module is added to the thing is the internet capability, that the thing now can connect with the internet. So when we have a large network of these type of things that are the embedded sensors with actuation capabilities, we call them the Internet of Things. And basically we also call them Internet of Things because they can have the ability to send their data to the internet.
Our next question is about future, and the second question is, what's impact IoT will have in the future?
Okay, so basically the IoT is the technology of the current times, and definitely it is the technology of the future. And as the technology is evolving, the internet connectivity is getting more and more common. And initially we used to have the broadband internet, and one used to connect with dial-up network internet and all that. Now we have easy to access connectivity with internet. So the technology is moving in a direction that we are connecting the internet with the things, and this will help us to monitor and remotely control various devices remotely. So definitely, if we talk about different, a simple example is home automation. If someone is currently not at home and he is in some remote city and he wants to switch on his porch bulb at night and it should turn off in the morning, so that can be performed using this IoT. And there are large number of examples that I'm going to tell later on.
Next question is about issues, and the question 3 is, what issues might affect the development and the implementation of IoT?
Okay, so there are in any technology we have some issues and we have some challenges. So the first challenge is, of course, we have a growing number of devices that needs to be connected to the internet. So we have to maintain their connectivity with the internet, such that there should be no disruptions, there should be no disconnections. Then if some device fails, then we should have some redundant devices to take over that functionality that the failed device was performing. And then also we have some issues like privacy issues, security issues and all that. So,
and move to question number 4. Will IoT actually work over the internet, or will it have its own dedicated wide area network?
Okay, well, we can think of it in both aspects. So there can be some situation when we do not have a direct connectivity with the internet. We have deployed the IoT devices in some remote area. But these are basically devices that are mostly gathering some information from the environment using the sensor and all that. So definitely we need to collect that information and send it to somewhere for processing. For that we also need some internet connectivity. So in that case, to perform the data transfer through the centralized server, we need some internet. And if we just want to gather the information from the environment and locally store in the device, then for that internet may not be required.
Our next question is question number 5. And what do you regarding the most interesting use of the Internet of Things?
Okay, so IoT has a large number of uses, and of course very interesting uses, like they are initially deployed in smart homes or the smart living quarters, in which we have tube lights, we have ACs, we have fridge, we have like other appliances connected with the IoT devices, and they are like operating based on the parameters that we specify. Like suppose we do not want certain devices to operate between certain hours of a day. So with IoT, we can put that intelligence in those devices. Similarly, as I told earlier, that we can also have a remote control of devices using the internet mechanism of the IoT. So then this is example of smart home, and then we can have examples of smart traffic monitoring, because large number of vehicles are moving, and somehow we cannot avoid the road congestion. So in some countries, some projects are deployed in which they have the IoT devices that counts the number of vehicles at different times of day, and then they compute the traffic, and on the basis of that they perform some recommendations that in these times of day, suppose this traffic should be directed on alternative route, so that at the end there should be no congestion. And and similarly we have smart health monitoring, in which a patient is needs to be monitored like for 24 hours, and it is somehow difficult to have an attendant to monitor him. Then we can like install some IoT devices there, some body area networks connected with IoT, and a person sitting in like nursing room or something, or at even home, will be informed about the current health status of the patient. So then we have smart grid. It is very good application of IoT. Smart grid is a concept that is now in application stage in the foreign countries. It is based on like you have different service providers as the electricity, and you have different type of consumption requirements. So if I am using energy at the domestic level, like my tube lights, foams, appliances and all that, so I do not need the commercial rate. So for me some domestic rate is good, but if I am having a small factory and I need more electric power, then I should be opting for the commercial rate and all that. So smart grid is a technology that based on the user needs, it smartly distributes the power, electric power to the home appliances. So IoT is also playing a role there, that with the appliances the devices can be attached, and they measure the consumption of each appliance, and then that data is sent to the centralized grid or the grid station, where it can estimate for a consumer that for you this type of tariff is good, and for this time of period.
Moving to the next question, which is question number 6. What will happen in terms of job uses and skills as IoT makes devices and robots are intelligent?
Okay, so well, we cannot be very much sure whether it's really going to impact the human resources, because to develop good IoT devices and to operate good IoT devices, we need some good people as well. So, but also we can see that in certain industries, the automation is now not requiring the physical presence of technicians, and those tasks are performed by the robots, because we also need some accuracy level. When humans are working manually, there is some chances of losing that accuracy. So, because it is not widely deployed technology yet, so we cannot be very sure whether it's really going to cause any harm or to the job losses or something. But one thing is also interesting, that you cannot hack a human, but you can hack these devices. So one will be definitely careful in totally relying on robots and IoT devices other than human beings.
Our next question is about risk, and question number 7 is, what is the biggest risk associated with an IoT?
Okay, as I mentioned about the hacking, so this is the biggest risk that can be associated with IoT, because these are like you can say the dumb computers that are performing tasks as you have instructed them. So someone can still manipulate the security feature of these devices, and he can capture the devices, and once these devices are captured, then they will not operate in the manner that we want them to operate. And we have seen such type of examples in some movies as well, like the whole command center is captured by a robot, and then the scientists are going on some suicidal mission to free that from that robot and all that. So these are so far like fictions, but they may turn into reality in future.
So our next question is question number 9, and the question is, what kind of information is required to become familiar with IoT?
Okay, so often some students also come to me and discuss that what if they want to start working in IoT, and can they really do? It is interesting to know that IoT does not require very high level skills. It's just like we have, I can just show you some examples, like we have here, these are like IoT boxes, you can call them IoT boxes, and they have a user manual. They are having some user manual, and in this user manual they are telling you that how you are going to operate this like IoT box, and they are in fact connected with the Raspberry Pis. Raspberry Pi, you might be knowing that it's a like small size computer of size equal to this like your smartphone. So in this box we have a large number of electrical components, and we can connect these components, and we have large number of sensors. These all are basically devices that are used in developing an IoT-based system. So it's even if you see the programming manual, it's not that difficult. It's like simple. Basically, all the functionality is already embedded in these. You just need to call the API functions and start using those. So I think the knowledge that may be required for using IoT is a little bit understanding of how the network works. And then a little bit of electronics, like how to like connect the connectors and all that. But even that thing is not to be worried of, because information about that is also given in this book.
Our next question is question 2, and how should students start learning or working on the IoT?
Sure. So I think the first thing is that you need to figure out in which application area you want to work in IoT, because IoT, as I stated, has large number of application areas. So first of all, okay, if even student does not know about this, we can say that let's begin with environmental monitoring. We are monitoring the temperature and all that. So for that we need some kind of sensor, and then we need some kind of system that process the information of that sensor and produce some useful result. So since IoT involves things, so we need to have some kind of hardware as well. So maybe the good way to start is that you get a Raspberry Pi computer. Raspberry Pi computer is Raspberry Pi model V3 is currently now available over Pakistan's market, and it's going to cost you like from 5,000 to 6,000 rupees. So it's not that expensive. And once you acquire that, you can connect different type of sensors with that Raspberry Pi computer, and the sensor will be bringing in the data that you need, just like the data that IoT device provides, and the processing on that data will be provided by the Raspberry Pi computer. And since Raspberry Pi is itself a full-fledged computer, you will be able to see the different type of graphs from them.
Thank you. Next question is also about students, which is a question number 11. Do students need the knowledge of electronic devices as well as for the implementation of IoT?
Okay, yeah, this is a valid question because as we are just seeing that if I like try to show this box, it's all like full of wires and all that, so it can easily scare someone that I need to know all the electronics to connect these wires, and if I do not connect these, something might explode. But the good thing to know is that this manual is giving us all that information. So it is telling us that if you want to connect this, then this connector where it should be inserted, and the other side should be inserted where. So I think one should need to know about this book, like read this book. Once that this book is read properly, then I think it should not be any problem to begin working. And otherwise, no harm to read about basics about resistors and capacitors and all that. So.
The next is question 12, and who is going to benefit from IoT?
Okay, so all those organizations, all those institutes, all those companies that will go for the automation using IoT will definitely benefit from these. I can give a very simple example. Suppose there's a room in which certain people visit during various times, and that room is having 100 light bulbs in that. And there are also some occasions in which no one is present in the room and light bulbs are still on. So now what we can do, we can install some IoT devices like photoelectric sensors, photosensitive sensors, and some motion detection sensors, some Doppler sensors and all that, to monitor that what is the trend of usage of that room. And when we get some estimates based on the data we collect, we can say, okay, during the 8 hours working time of the day, for 3 hours the room totally remains unoccupied, and we are still burning the energy for those 3 hours. And then we can install some sensors that if it feels like no one is present in the room, the light should be turned off. So same case for like a cooling system. If some company is having ACs installed, and I see a problem there when I was myself working in a organization that at overside it used to be very cold, and in summers I had to often wear the jacket to sit at that place. But at the other corner of that building, it used to be very warm, so the air was not properly circulating. So again, if the company adopts this IoT based solution, it's going to deploy the ACs on those locations so that we have a uniform temperature of the room without consuming the extra energy.
Our next question is about data generated by IoT, which is question number 13.
Mm-hmm.
How IoT generates big data will be handled?
Yeah, so big data, you use the term big data, so we need to understand that. Suppose we have data of like 10 users, and when we have large number of sensors deployed that are acquiring this information, it is natural that we will have a very huge volume of data collected from these sensors. And what was our objective? Our objective was to compute some useful information so that we can predict something, so now for that we need to have some mechanism of operating on that large volumes of data that we call the big data. And traditional solutions are that we normally send that data to the cloud. So cloud computing is basically a concept in which we have what is a cloud? A company has 3 or 4 servers. They are interconnected with each other, and then that same company has some servers at some other city, then some servers, group of servers in some other city. Now and we call this group of servers as a data center. So the company is having now 3 data centers in 3 different cities, and these 3 data centers as a combine are called cloud. So we say that this is the cloud of like Google, or this is the cloud of the Amazon. So traditionally this big data used to be processed on the cloud.
Okay.
But the problem is that to reach those servers, the data had to travel through various network paths, network links, and this used to cause a lot of choking on the network links, because huge volume of data is going. So the network, like just like when we are downloading something from the internet, our browsing speed slows down. So now the trend is going towards the edge computing. Edge computing examples are like fog, we have micro data centers, we have cloudlets and all that. So fog computing is a branch of edge computing. Now why we call it fog? See, the cloud is up in the sky and fog is something that is closer to us. Like we are sitting and we say, see, there's a lot of fog here. So fog is basically a group of servers that are now deployed closer to the end user. And these are deployed by the same company. So same service provider. So now in this scenario, when I am having the big data of like my city Abbottabad, it's generating a lot of big data. Instead of sending that data to my data center in USA or my data center in some other country, I am going to send that data to my local fog that was deployed in my own city, and my local fog is going to compute, process all that data so that it produces information that I actually wanted. So this is how the big data, the trend is going to handle the big data locally.
Our last question, and what is the status of Internet of Things today?
Okay, so IoT, as I said, is the buzzword of the times. Previously, we used to call it wireless sensor networks. So IoT is basically a wireless sensor network, but connected with the internet. So, currently, as I said, that we have some practical applications of IoT running. Like we have vehicular to vehicular communication, and you have also observed the driverless cars are being launched in the California and all that. So basically, it's not like I cannot say that is IoT, but it has certain links with IoT because the car is sensing information, and some roadside sensors are also providing some information to that vehicle. So we have some applications of IoT currently running, and we hope that some more applications will run in future. But currently, the most of the work is being done in the countries that are technologically advanced. In like countries that are developing, like our countries, like a developing country, we will expect its arrival in form of practical deployment after like some years. But definitely still we have many research universities that are performing research on IoT, and especially over this computer science department. Comsats Abbottabad is also very active in IoT research. We have students making various projects in IoT. We have like smart home projects developed with this IoT and all that. So we are at least active in this research, and I hope inshallah as soon as we will go for some product that can be deployed at the country level.
Thank you, sir, for giving us your precious time.
You are welcome.
And Allah Hafiz.